Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Sky-high energy prices are a hot topic in Poland. Russia has used its virtual monopoly to generate a natural gas shortage across the continent, and consumer prices are now significantly higher. Another issue is the financial speculation that has driven up the price of CO2 emission certificates in the trading scheme from approximately €20 per tonne to almost 100. This sudden rise in energy prices drives inflation and frustrates consumers. Opposition leader and president of the Civic Platform party, Donald Tusk, blamed the government for the energy price hike and half-jokingly wished Poles hot water in their taps and radiators for the new year. In response, ruling party politicians lashed out, pointing out that Donald Tusk, as a Eurocrat, could have stopped the completion of the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline. Government spokesman Piotr Muller talks about the two main factors that have significantly affected energy prices recently. Gas prices are rising primarily due to gas blackmail from Russia. The reason for this blackmail is the potential launch of Nord Stream 2, and this is also an attempt to force the European Union to approve the launch of this gas pipeline. The second element is European Union's climate policy and the price of carbon dioxide emission allowances. The government's response to rising prices is, among other things, the anti-inflationary shield, which has resulted in lower fuel prices between 20 and 30 grosz per litre. Among other things, we reduced VAT on gas from 23 to 8%. The same for electricity and for system heat, that is the heat we have in our radiators. There will be more proposals to curb the raging prices of heating, the Deputy Speaker of the Sejm announced. The government is working on this to find a solution. I think that we will find it in some time. The Civic Platform party has submitted a draft of an intervention bill. It is supposed to reduce the price hikes. Some housing communities experience a several 100% increase in their bills. Gas prices are to increase by several 100% from the 1st of January. Minister of Justice Zbigniew Ziobro blames Donald Tusk for higher prices. He called him a traitor and remarked that the opposition leader was silent about energy market threats when he was heading the European Council. According to Ziobro, Donald Tusk's lavish salary was for his loyalty to the interests of Moscow and Berlin. To help the poorest, the government devised a shielding allowance for over 4 billion zloty that comes into force tomorrow. A single-person household with an income under 2,100 zloty will receive up to 500 zloty for energy bills. The amount of the subsidy is related to the number of people in the household. For example, a 6-person or larger household may receive more than 1,400 zloty. More than 50% of Polish households will be able to receive support. More unexpected news is that after Poland cut some taxes on fuel, Germans are lining up in Polish gas stations, saving approximately 60 cents per litre. In a story called Tanka Poland, German newspaper Bild praises the anti-inflation policy of the Polish government. In regard to natural gas deliveries, this year will end decades-long contract with Gazprom. Poland will be supplied by the Baltic pipe connection with Norway and liquefied natural gas imported from the United States. We are building a gas pipeline from Norway which will make us independent from these manipulations and blackmails from Russian suppliers. This gas pipeline is called the Baltic Pipe and will be put into operation in October this year. In the fight against rising prices, change in the European Union policy is needed, points out Daniel Ciszewski from Energy24. To diversify these supplies even more so that Russia or Gazprom does not have such an influence on the European market. Now, 40% of gas comes from the east. Experts advise that in order to limit price increases, housing communities or cooperatives should change the nature of their contracts from business to individual ones. According to the Financial Times, Brussels wants to recognise nuclear power and forms of natural gas as green activity as part of a landmark European Union classification scheme to help financial markets decide what counts as sustainable investment. Poland and France have praised the decision. Both countries expect to rely on nuclear baseload power. Germany and Austria are strongly against. Berlin and Vienna bank on the trading of natural gas delivered by Russia. The European Commission has paved the way for investment in new nuclear power plants for at least the next 2 decades and natural gas for at least a decade under a green labelling system known as the Taxonomy for Sustainable Finance. Nuclear power does not emit greenhouse gases but does produce toxic waste that requires safe disposal and which can pose radiation risks. Natural gas does produce carbon dioxide, but its supporters say that it is far less polluting than traditional fossil fuels and is a vital way to help pave the way for lower emissions. The apparent decision is being criticised by the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who in his New Year address spoke highly on climate neutrality.
Internationale Zusammenarbeit ist wichtig.
Starting tomorrow, Germany will for 1 year take over the presidency of the group of 7 economically strong democratic states, the G7. We will use our presidency so that this group of states becomes a pioneer for climate-neutral way of doing business and a fair world. German government spokesman Stefan Herbstreit said on a regular news conference that Germany rejected the peaceful use of nuclear energy. We believe nuclear energy is dangerous and we believe the problem of nuclear waste remains unsolved. Germany opposes the peaceful use of nuclear energy. Just now, at the end of last year, we shut down 3 nuclear plants, while another 3 remain operational until the end of this year before they will be shut down. That will complete Germany's departure from nuclear energy. We believe nuclear technology is dangerous and we believe the problem of nuclear waste remains unsolved. Germany has pulled the plug on 3 of its last 6 nuclear power stations. The government decided to speed up the phasing out of nuclear power following Japan's Fukushima reactor meltdown in 2011, when an earthquake and tsunami destroyed the coastal plant in the world's worst nuclear disaster since Chernobyl in 1986. At the same time, Germany baseload power production from hard coal and lignite is up by several 100%. President Joe Biden has reassured Ukraine of United States support in the face of a Russian military buildup on Ukraine's borders, telling Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during a phone call on January the 2nd that the United States and its allies will respond decisively if Russia invades a former Soviet republic. Biden reaffirmed the United States' commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki said in a statement after the 2 leaders spoke. In turn, Zelensky said Ukraine appreciates the unwavering support from the United States, noting on Twitter that he and Biden discussed cooperation between the United States, Ukraine and other partners in keeping peace in Europe, preventing further escalation, reforms, de-oligarchization. Biden's call with Zelensky follows talks between Biden and Putin on December the 30th, in which Biden said the United States and its allies would impose severe sanctions on Russia if it invades Ukraine. Russia has demanded sweeping security guarantees from the United States and NATO, including that Ukraine and other former Soviet countries will not join NATO, and a rollback of military deployments in Central and Eastern Europe. Russia has defended its troop build-up, saying it could not remain indifferent to perceived NATO aggression on Russia's doorstep. The United States has urged Russia to engage meaningfully in upcoming series of high-level talks this month on the 10th standoff between Moscow and Kiev, which will discuss arms control and tensions over Ukraine under their bilateral strategic stability dialogue, followed by a separate meeting of the Russia-NATO Council in Brussels, and another meeting will be held in Vienna within the framework of the OSCE, which includes the United States, its European allies, Ukraine and Russia. Last night, only 4 people tried to cross the Polish-Belarusian border illegally in Szudziałowo. During that time, people in civilian clothes, but wearing caps with markings, threw stones in the direction of the Polish border guards. As a spokesman for the Guard said today, the situation is normalising, but last year was extremely difficult for the Polish security services. The figures for last year show that, and I say this without false modesty, the border guards and the officers of this formation were heroes. We carried out a very difficult task with great dedication, especially those who were in the front line. It really must be said that the officers were the heroes of the past year. Last year we had 39,714 attempts to illegally cross the Polish-Belarusian border. The year before there were 122 such attempts. Last year we detained 2,800 illegal immigrants. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from here, have a good night and a better tomorrow.